I was going to let him come and speak immediately to the party. I believe that our General Secretary will say a few more words before our main speaker comes to address you. I was being diplomatic and I said he's gone home. He just discovered watching. And while we were all dealing with chicken that is not yet alive, he has gone back home and is dealing with watching. So we just want him to finish off that and then he'll address you. But listen attentively. He's very humble. He doesn't say very much in terms of what he is and who he is. We have a leader and we're very proud of him. And we want you all to remember that put all our little things behind us. Let's all come together because Ghana actually is the pathway for Africa. Take it or leave it. We are the shining star. Will remain the shining star. And John Mahama is the man who will make sure that it is. I will ask Honorable Fifi Kwete, the General Secretary of our party, to say a few words. Thank you.
Ghana's only hope for 2024.
The last time, listen, 7 years of the current party that is in power today, the NPP. The last time they were in office. They took office in 2001. And after 7 years, it was looking like it was almost impossible to take them out of power. In fact, it looked so difficult. It looked like they were really going to be in power for a long time. Then the trip happened. And that trip somehow led us from Ghana to the USA. That happened in 2007, 7 years exactly. And that trip brought us through Chicago and sent us from Chicago to Atlanta. And a year later, victory became ours. I want to say that 7 years have passed again since that party has been in power. This time looking even far more ruthless, far more difficult, much more corrupt, and having all the wherewithal to make themselves stay in power for long. But somehow, without us knowing, history has repeated itself, and the trip again has happened. And this time, this trip is being led by the former president, the flag of the NDC. In fact, the previous trip was actually led by the leader of the NDC at the time. That was Governor J. was the chairman, and a few of us joined that trip. And so I'm saying that what is happening here today might look to you as if it's just an organization for purposes of encouraging ourselves, raising funds to be able to support the party. But I want to tell you, for those of you who can understand omens and understand oracles, it's simply history repeating itself. Chicago again is going to be a place where we are going to take a lot of power and go right back to conduct that final election. So it's a significant night. It's an occasion that we need to remember. So next year, December 2024, when you hear that NDC has again recaptured the power in order to begin again the process of reconstructing of our country, all of you who are in the USA, who are in particular in Chicago, remember that we came here, carried a mantle, carried a lot of anointing from Chicago again, and took it back to Ghana to be able to deliver. So I just want to make you all remember so that you understand that it's not just a financial program we are on here. There is something very quiet, something very spiritual, something very divine that attitude coming from Chicago. So Chicago, thank you once more. We carry the blessing from you. Thank you.
On that note, now that water has been drunk on top of the water, I give to you the former president of the Republic of Ghana and the future president of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency President John Mahama.
Ghana's only hope for 2024.
Thank you very much. You may resume your seats. Let me begin by acknowledging our traditional leaders here who have joined us on this cold Chicago evening. It takes a lot of sacrifice for them to join us because when they were at 12, I wonder how I would have survived if half of my chest was exposed to the elements. And so we must appreciate it when they dress traditionally and come and join us. No, we were no. I hear this. Is there an hour came on Today is not a day for too long speeches, but I'd like to say that we appreciate the invitation to join you from the US chapter. A few months ago, we were in Europe. They did a fundraiser, and it was an EU program. And so all our chapters in Europe were represented. They came from Switzerland, from UK, Amsterdam, Germany, Netherlands, all of them were there. And we had a very beautiful and successful function. It's not just about the money, but it's also the solidarity and the comradeship that we share. These trips give us a landmark so that in future when we meet, you remember the fundraiser we held in Chicago? I was there. I was in the brown shirt. I danced the bambaya. I danced this. I served with the wachi and all that. And so it creates a landmark for us to remember each other. And especially when you are being crucified together and you are with Jesus, and he says, you tell them, Jesus, remember me in paradise. And he says, today I'll be with you in paradise. Sometimes when paradise comes, people forget. And so all of you sitting here, when paradise happens, remember that on the way to paradise you were crucified with other people. And so I think it's important. And thank you very much for your warm welcome. Let me thank the comrades from Ohio. Are they here? No. and they welcomed us very well, and promised that they will accompany us to Chicago, and I'm happy that they are here. And so, Chicagoans, are you here? Thank you very much. Actually, if I have a city in the US that I can claim as my own, then it's Chicago. 21 years ago, in September, a child was born, and that was my fourth son. My wife had come to visit her in-laws, my sisters live in this city, and my stepmother lives here. And so she came to visit them, and it was due for her antenatal, and so the doctor asked her to do it. Her doctor in Ghana said she should do the antenatal here. And when she went, there were some complications that had developed with the birth, and the doctor advised that she cannot fly all the way back to Ghana, so she has to stay and have the child here. And so she did. The child was born. One of the imams who named him is here. He greeted me just a while ago. Where is he? Imam. Oh, he stepped out. Yeah. And so he was named here, and because it's the city of Jesse Jackson, and Jesse Jackson is my friend, the child was named Jesse. And so he's Jesse Mahama. And I just left him in Toronto. He's 21 years, he's in university already. You see how quickly time flies. And this morning we had a good time with Jesse Jackson. We paid a visit to the Rainbow Push Coalition. We were very warmly received. And as Fifi said, as Alex said, Jesse Jackson said a prayer for us and prayed that God should give us success in 2024. Oh, Imam, no, I'm just recognizing you. And you being at the naming ceremony 21 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You too.
All right. And so 2024 is what we are about. In 2016, we went for elections and we lost. And so we handed over power to the next administration dutifully, the way we should. I say that NDC has a greater commitment to Ghana's democracy than any other political party because we midwifed that democracy. It was us who did the consultation with Justice D.F. Annan's National Development Commission and came to the determination that Ghanaians wanted to return to a multi-party democracy. And then we set up the Consultative Assembly. And for those of you who know, when we set up the Consultative Assembly, our colleagues on the other side boycotted it and said they couldn't sit in the same assembly with butchers and tailors and hairdressers and market women to draw up a constitution, and that the constitution drawing is a job for lawyers. And so they boycotted it. And the ordinary people of this country, the butchers and dressmakers and drivers, TUC, and wine tappers, all of them, are the ones that drew up the 1992 Constitution. And the 1992 Constitution is the longest lasting constitution in the history of Ghana. And I dare say it's the best constitution we've ever had in the history of Ghana. And that is why the fourth republic of this country has been the longest lasting republic that we have had. The fourth republic. And then President Kufuor took over and he did 8 years. And then President Mills of blessed memory came into office and did 3 years and a half. And I served the remaining term because God called him. And I stood for 2012, won the election, did 4 years. And as God will have it, our comrades took over, and Nana Addo Akufo-Addo became the president. He's been president for 7.5 years now. I've always said that the Fourth Republic and democracy is like a relay. You run to the side of the race and you hand over the baton. And we have done that successfully. Every government has added its little contribution to advancing our democracy and advancing our economic development. And so I happily handed over the baton to Nana Akufo-Addo. Unfortunately, instead of continuing the race forward, he has run in reverse. I'm sure many of you have seen that video where the children were handing over the baton, and when this one got it, he started running back. That is what has happened to our country. I'm sure you're more familiar with what has happened than I am, because we've been away for some time. But things are not good. Things are not good. And it's not like we didn't see it. We saw it, we alerted them, we warned them, but they wouldn't listen. And today, our country is in a very difficult place. Let nobody deceive you. And when the finance minister says things are turning around, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Things are getting harder. Everyday prices of goods and services are going up. And as we were just told, today there's widespread load shedding across the country because of $20 million. That's all. We have a pipeline where we do a reverse flow from our western field because we have excess gas there. So we reverse flow the gas through the West African pipeline to the east so that the thermal plants in the east can have gas. And we owe $20 million for that reverse flow, which we haven't paid. And so the gas has been shut. And so the thermal plants in the east cannot get gas. That is the simple explanation for it. Pay the money, they said, oh, we've talked to them and we've reached agreement. But what I noticed is everything they do now is to kick the ball further down the road. And so I want to find out, what agreement have you reached? Is it that you're postponing the payments, you're paying a down payment and pushing the rest to the next government that is coming? Because that's exactly what's happening with the debt restructuring. They're just postponing Armageddon and in a hurry to just push it there and hand it over to whoever comes. And so we also have our eyes open. We're looking at the projections and things, and we spoke to the IMF and we said, look, we must know all the agreements you're entering into with this government, because the IMF program is going to transcend regimes, and the new government is going to inherit whatever agreements that you sign with this government. And so we must know exactly what you're looking at. And so we have our team that is looking at the agreements, looking at what the projections are going to be, so that we know exactly what we're going to inherit. It's not going to be easy. And I tell my colleagues that what we're going into, I wonder if we really understand what we're going into. It's going to take a lot of work to build back to where we were at before these people came. At the time, they were in opposition, and it's easy when you're in opposition to think that governance is easy. And I remember at one time, they had kept up with this, the incompetent Mahama administration, incompetent Mahama administration. And I warned them, I said, look, you don't know what it is to be president. You don't know how it is to govern. And so you just keep on incompetent. I think today they have learned the hard way. It's not a walk in the park. But unfortunately, we could have said, we told you so. But the effects are so serious that we don't want to gloat in self-vindication. But I hope they've learned their lesson so that tomorrow they don't think that it is just easy and it's easy to govern a country like Ghana or any country. So we have the elections ahead of us, 2024. As was said, they are not a group that goes down easily. They will take advantage of anything to try and stay in power, especially now, because they don't want the day of accountability to come. And so it is better for them to be succeeded by the vice president, because if he succeeds, he will cover their backs. But the people of Ghana deserve to hold them accountable. Because it's not. And the only way they can be held accountable is if they leave office. And that is why, for the sake of our children and our great-grandchildren, we must make sure that this NPP administration leaves office so that we can hold them accountable. We can see and investigate the wrong things that they have done. Indeed, some of their own people who have been alienated and marginalized are the ones who come to me and say, look, we're disappointed in our government, and it is our hope that when you come, you're not going to do Father for all, and that you must hold our people accountable.
Yes.
And that if you don't, we'll combine with your own NDC people and come and kick you out of that Flagstaff house. And so we have a duty to our nation to hold them accountable, but not keep our concentration there. We have a country to govern, and we have a country to bring back on track. And so we have done it before. We have the experience. We have managed that country before. We understand the issues. Even in opposition, we've been following and advising. If they only just listen to us. Because as far back as 2018, 2019, we told them that we were going down the wrong track. I accused the finance minister directly of creative accounting. I said, you're not telling the world the true story of the economy, because I knew that the way he was going, the economy would crash. Because if you take, and for all of you who do accounting, if you balance your books, but then liabilities that will accrue to you, you put them as footnotes and appendixes, and you don't add them to the calculation of your accounting, and you say my budget has balanced, you're just deceiving yourself. And you're postponing D-Day. And that's exactly what he was doing. And we raised the red flag. We said, look, he's not adding ESLA PLC. ESLA PLC is a creature of government. It was created by government, and we went ahead and borrowed on the revenues of ESLA PLC and spent the money. So what is that? It's a debt. You went and collapsed 9 indigenous banks and microfinance companies, 300 microfinance companies, and guaranteed their deficits to a tune of almost 22, 23 billion cedis. What is it? It's a liability on government. You owe the IPPs $1.3 billion. Whose liability is it? It's government. And yet when you do your budget, you come and tell the parliament that, oh, we have less than 5% budget deficit. And that's just because you haven't added these other ticket items. And so it was obvious that he was just postponing, and the time would come when it was reality would catch up. And reality caught up when COVID came. And you couldn't hide those liabilities anymore. And so once the liabilities were added, debts to GDP that was being stated at about 72%, apparently was 103%. And so, even when the reality caught up, we said, look, you better go to our multilateral partners quickly and get an agreement. Go to IMF before it gets worse. We won't go to IMF today, we won't go to IMF tomorrow, we won't go to IMF as long as everybody remains in power. We're proud in the country, we're this, we can manage our own affairs, And as an economist said, you either walk to the IMF or else you'll be carried in an ambulance to the IMF. They were not even carried in an ambulance. They were carried on a stretcher to Ireland. And so today, our economy is in intensive care. And they are giving it drips, blood transfusions and everything, oxygen to try and make it survive. And so, what it means is that these guys have destroyed what we have all been building. And it's made things very hard for individuals and for businesses. Businesses have been slapped with huge taxes. If you go to Ghana today, any of you who has come back recently, go to the supermarket and buy anything and let them give you the receipt and calculate the tax component of what you bought. It's more than 33-35% of the cost of whatever you purchase is going to be taxes alone. And that's all because of a populist government. Free water, free lights, COVID, people, their supporters were standing on the street and pouring water on themselves and using soap and said, the government that has given free water. And I remember Kwesi Pratt said, hey, there's nothing free. This thing you pay for it. As soon as they finish the election, 1% COVID level. He says, so, but why COVID levy? He says, so the water and this thing you were laughing, you think it was for free? But that's the kind of government that we have. I mean, they believe that propaganda can take care of everything. For them, they don't believe in that you can fool all the people some of the time, you can fool all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. They don't believe in that. They believe that you can fool all the people all the time. And so for them, it's about propaganda, it's about everything. They set up the special prosecutor's office. Today, they are the ones fighting the special prosecutor. And so, when your family write to you or call you and tell you life is hard, I beg you, I can agree with that. And so, the $50 and $100 you send, if you will consider increasing the remittance. I want to appeal to you. Before, they will exaggerate it in order that you send more. This time, I can vouch for them that life is really hard. So if you're sending $100, I think you consider adding some $50 to alleviate the situation back home. But today is about 2024, and it's about our party. The state of our party is good. I am more confident and more happy with the state of our party today than at any other time. We have good executives, we have bright executives, we have energetic executives, we have executives who are enthusiastic and prepared to work. And all of them have that hunger in the belly for power. And they know that if we get power, we will do something good for our country. And so we're united, we're working together, and it gives me a lot of hope that we're doing the right thing. All the committees have set to work, they're working hard. The National Executive is working well. All the petty, differences that normally exist do not exist this time. They've been resolved. We might not be darlings with each other, even if we don't like each other. At least we know that we must work together to make sure that we gain power. And so petty differences have been put aside. For those of you who were not there earlier this afternoon, I said that we have buried our differences in Ghana and we're working hard together. And so I don't see why in the US you cannot bury your differences and work together. I'm not here, but like I said, when I put my ear on the ground, I hear the little squabbles and little differences. You know, the point is, nobody's ego is bigger than the objective that is before us. And that objective is to rescue our country, win political power, and make things better for our people. And so, with Tibi Bakami, somebody has stepped on my toe. If it's not me, there cannot be any NDC USA chapter. I'm the Alpha and Omega. You're not the Alpha and Omega. It takes the contribution of everybody to achieve success. No one person can achieve success for us. Even me as flag bearer of the party alone, I cannot achieve that success. Because I need everybody to chip in. There are 40,000 polling stations. We're going to select 2 party agents per polling station. As flag bearer, I cannot be in every polling station vouching and making sure that those who are going to sit there on election day are really going to work in our interest. I need all the executives from the branch level right up to the top to help me to achieve that. It is the same. No one person in the USA can make NDC successful. It will take all of you to work together to be able to do it. So let's drop all the disagreements. Let's be united. Success is calling us. Indeed, in Ghana today, power is lying on the floor. It's for who is agile enough to pick it up. And NDC is in the best position to pick it up. And we can't do it alone back home. We need you, the diaspora, your prayers, your support, and everything. Elections are very serious business. And every single dollar, every single CD matters. We need t-shirts, we need motorcycles, we need bicycles, we need umbrellas, caps, scarves. We need money for fuel, to pay party agents, to train them and all that. And we can't do that alone. Everybody is chipping in his bit. If you see me running around like a headless chicken, it's going with cap in hand and begging for money for us to be able to finance the campaign. And so if you see us here today, we came here to say, your widow's mite is important. It can be $10, it can be $20, it can be $100, it can be $1,000, it can be $1 million. And so it's not about how much money you raise here today. It is about between now and next year, how much you are able to give. Make a budget. Tell us, look, I'm going to give you $500 between now and next year. And give it to us 10, 20. We will make it possible for you to contribute. And so we're talking about having payment platforms so that if there's $500 you want to give us, if it's $1,000 you want to give us, and it's $100 a month or $50 a month, just make your budget. And then once you have the code and everything, just put that in so that we're able to work at home to achieve success. And it's my hope that you all are registered members. And that when the time comes, you will invest in a ticket and fly home and come and vote. Every single vote is important. And for those of you who can come and be party agents, we beg you, let us know, so that we will let you come and we will deploy you. We'll give you a fast-track training so that you know what to look out for at the polling station. So if your vote is in a certain polling station, we're prepared to post you to your polling station to sit there the whole day and make sure that the right thing is done. So for those of you who want to participate, let us know so that we will put you in there, bring you in for a fast-track training. Before the election, you come early, we'll give you a refresher training, and then on that day you sit, and then you contribute your quota to protecting the party's vote. I know that if this election is free and fair, there's no doubt in my mind that NDC will bring it forward. So even though we don't think that the EC is a neutral arbiter in this contest, for me the joy in my heart will be to see that this partisan EC has no choice but to declare NDC the winner. And so let me not talk too much. And thank you for the watching. And for those of you who were chicken and the green leaves, remember. So thank you very much. God bless you.